Last night, I slept in a real bed for the first time in 7 months, and it had me questioning my entire life. I may have even called my mom this morning and asked her if I had been delusional the last 4 years, convincing myself to live in a van when this is so great. And what exactly about it is so great? Well, running water, space to walk, a counter, room to breathe, exist, a table to sit at and work, air conditioning, normalcy. I don't know, but the thing is, let's just flip the script for a moment. Let's say I lived here in this hotel for 7 months. I know myself. I would get bored, I would get the itch to travel, and inevitably I'd be on the move again. I know that fundamental truth about myself. I have switched schools or jobs 1 to 2 times a year since I was in 7th grade, all on my own accord. I love novelty and I do not like to sit still. Living in a van was a way to stop cutting all of my leases short. Living in a van was also a way to be able to afford traveling so much and to be able to not have to get a super serious adult job to do that. It's mornings like these I have to go through that mental list in my head to remind myself why I do this, why I love van life. And it was also this morning specifically that I also learned the value of taking breaks from living in the van, and how in the end, being off the road every once in a while can keep you on the road even longer in the end. Refreshing your system and acknowledging that living in a tiny box is not the easiest thing in the world all the time. I just need to remind myself of all the good things that will come once the van is built. And so that is what we are going to do tonight. We are going to go remind ourselves of all of the positives that come with van life, because lately it's just been a lot of negatives, and I got into this for a reason. And today is my last day in Las Vegas, and ladies and gentlemen, meet Worm, who I know what you're thinking is indeed not a worm, but he looks really wormy, and that is enough for me to be running for my life. Or at least just a cup so I can keep track of where he is. But considering it's actually a caterpillar, maybe by the time I have the guts to lift the cup up again, there will be a much less scary butterfly to emerge. Gross. This, by the way, is reason number 2 that I got a hotel, because yesterday morning I was laying in bed in my van, and a California harvester ant bit me in the butt, and I had this giant red mark and it burned, and I was so grossed out, and I was like, I just can't do this anymore. Well, here is just another reminder that you're not really escaping that much when you go back into a house, right? You're still gonna get bugs, you're still gonna have things break, you're still gonna have, your air conditioner could break, it could be really hot, you're still gonna have to leave the house at some point and have the heat, so life isn't perfect anywhere. The lesson here is get better at being less scared of bugs, maybe? I don't know what to do with this, it's just sitting there. So in the end, I did the only thing one can really do when they find a bug in their house. I ran for it and burned the place down. So we have to get out of here before the cops show up. I'm not gonna lie to you, the van right now is a horrible, awful mess. It's only 97 degrees right now. I have not seen it say under 100 in days. I'm also parked in the shade, so cheating. Is it weird that I feel weird driving somewhere? Like, my brain feels weird knowing I got into my vehicle, I'm going to drive somewhere, I will get back out, and I have to come back to this location, and then I will leave the vehicle. Like, that's a basic normal thing. My brain feels so strange about it. I feel so emotionally attached to my vehicle, like it's so intertwined with my everyday life, that the idea of going somewhere and my vehicle not being included in the plans for it, or that I won't be, from there saying, all right, where am I gonna sleep tonight? Figuring out plans from there, coming back to a spot. Like, basic life stuff is just boggling my mind right now. It's not every day you park in front of a gutted plane, but it's not every day you go to Area 15 either. Honestly, this place has a lot of names and it's made up of many, many places. You could literally spend a whole week here and still have more to do. Or you could just spend a week here just trying to unravel the mysteries and meanings of the art. For me, for today here at Area 15, I'm okay just not really forcing the art to have a meaning. I think that's kind of what the vibe is in here. Just letting it be trippy and strange and nonsensical, and vibing through whatever emotions the art invokes in me instead of trying to control or put my emotions into the art. And that's something we are going to have to come to terms with real quick because nothing here is going to make sense anyway. And that is why it is now my favorite place in all of Las Vegas. I have been living here for 7 months. I have seen so much, but this tops all of it. Welcome to Area 15. Welcome to Meow Wolf, and Omega Mart, and Haley's Comet Zipline, and the Dreamweaver, and the Multiverse Depot, and Dueling Axes, and an arcade, and Inside Goth, and the Wild Muse, and so much more. Welcome to an alternate reality. And this is why we are here, Omega Mart. It's just a casual trip to the grocery store. What else do you think was happening here? The only grocery store that actually has everything you could ever truly need. From rabbit shards to pierced potatoes to tattooed chickens to cubed peas, and don't forget your emergency clams, all right? And you also can't forget the dehydrated water. Plus, oh right, my nightly corn pill. And a 96-hour energy. Honestly, I cannot survive without it. Sleep is a thing of the past. It is 2024, people. Get with it. I also picked up a gossip magazine on my way around. I just love to get my potato chip gossip, you know what I mean? But yeah, you gotta be really careful because sometimes things just melt into the floor around here, but no worries, we'll be fine. Probably, I think. So now we are gonna stop and get vegetables. And you know me, always trying to eat healthier, but I actually ended up finding a new drill in the vegetable aisle. And unfortunately they were out of stock, but I hear they are the hottest items on the shelves here. But yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I get only the necessities. So I also got some plausible deniability that is scented like apple blossom alibi and keeps your lies white. So is there anything you can't get here? Do you remember the feeling of being a kid and letting your life be rolled with your own imagination? Tea parties, full karaoke concerts, bright swirling colors, eyes full of wonder, unlimited energy, a whole life in front of you. You could be anything, go anywhere, and that wasn't overwhelming, but made you feel weightless, unlimited. Van life keeps me from losing that feeling. Every day you can be a new person. No one knows who you are. You're in a new place, a clean slate every day if you want it. It brings back the feeling of waking up and never knowing what the day will hold. Eyes of wonder. I think it's really easy to define people in borders, or if you're in a routine, to box yourself into being a finite, defined being. But not to sound like a Pinterest or to be corny, we are galaxies. We are sculpting clay that never needs to be hardened, endless and constantly changing. With this lifestyle, I feel moldless, floating through space. At any moment, I could plant my roots or wipe the board clean. No shackles. It's a breath of fresh air to know that at any moment, if you realize your heart has a new beat, that you can change it, you can follow it. To know as long as I keep my savings account steady, I don't have to clock in for anyone else anymore. This is my life again. Settling down is always going to be an option. Getting a house, a 9-to-5 job, sitting still. It's always going to be there. It's not going anywhere. But my health, my energy, my youth, I won't have those things forever. The time is now to not be afraid to be fascinated, swept away, disarmed, adventurous, to make mistakes, get messy and weird, and to walk into our daydreams, sometimes literally. My favorite poem of all time is called Love After Love by Derek Walcott, and the poem goes like this. The time will come when with elation you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life whom you've ignored for another. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit. Feast on your life. It's these words that bring me peace when I feel like I'm never doing enough, when I'm putting too much weight on what other people want from my life, and when I wonder if I'll ever get to the end of my life and feel like I spent my time well and I'm proud of the life that I lived. And I think sometimes in order for us to be able to take a break or to take a step back or not be so hard on ourselves, we have to let go of all those things and remember what really matters. What do you want to have to feast on at the end of your life when no one is there, when the photographs and the souvenirs don't hold weight, when it's just you looking back at you? Who do you hope is staring back? I also think of this poem sometimes when I'm scared to die. I like to think that this poem is what will happen as I cross over into the afterlife. That before I meet either nothingness or judgment day, whatever truly awaits, that I'll just have a small moment to sit with myself and be proud that I lived and that I loved and that I was alive and that I was blessed with every moment and that was more than enough. Van life helps me feel closest to myself every day. Traveling, exploring, living outside the box, being able to not stress about money, seeing the country, meeting new people, learning so much more about life and about myself, which I feel like can happen at an accelerated pace when I'm living in the van. And even on the hard days, it makes me proud of what I've overcome to be able to do this, to be able to live this lifestyle. And I know that if I'm ever able to get to sit at a metaphorical table with myself, that I'll have something to feast on. And finally, I found a passageway out right next to some stapler and battery cereal and some dark detergent that makes your clothes 700% darker, and then past these signs of cage-free toes, like dozen egg flip-flops. And with that, our grocery store run is complete and my life feels a little more magical. I do feel much better. For anyone that I know, any van lifer, a lot of questions, one of the big questions that's constantly happening is, where is the end line for me? And I've always been one who's been like, never, at least 5 years with this van. And that's, even if I get an apartment, I think I would still have the van and I'd travel in the van. I don't know. I'm not really gonna quit. I'm just exhausted, and that's okay, and that's fair, and that's valid. Something else I was talking to my friends about is how now it's much scarier to quit, especially in the position that I'm in now, where my job is tied to the fact that I live in a van. All of my friends live in vans, make content. They do those two things, and if I don't live in a van, I'd be reinventing my entire self. I've let my whole life become centered around living in a van, and now it can be kind of scary, the idea of moving on. And I have a friend who says they think all van lifers are looking for something, and once they find it, that's when they quit. And I don't think I found my something yet. I'm still curious about the world, and I want to go out and see things, and I want to explore, and I don't know. Yeah, I am more comfortable living in a city and staying for 6 months, but it's the unbuilt van. I know it's the unbuilt van because I never had these thoughts with the built out van. But the unbuilt van, it is so unhealthy for me. And it's driven me to insanity, and I just keep saying, it's okay, it's fine, it's gonna be, and it's not fine, honestly. And I didn't really realize how not fine it was until I slept in that hotel last night. And suddenly all of these feelings I had just been pushing aside and lying about, I couldn't ignore anymore. Good morning. It is the next day. The cup is still there. It has not moved. I have not touched it. It hasn't moved it. I'm not gonna check if it's still there, but don't worry. I left a note. I paid them a lot of money. That bug is their problem. I did indeed sleep in here last night with the worm in the cup. Yeah, this is my life. Okay. Anyway, I have to go move out of my storage unit today because holy shit, we're headed back to the East Coast today. It's kind of crazy how fast we got here. It literally does not feel like that long ago that I was moving into the storage unit and starting my life out west in the van. It was nothing like I expected, and I failed in so many ways from my original plans. Nothing was as I thought it would be, and while the most difficult parts of the van are now installed in the van, including the heated floors, the whole electrical system, and the start of the air conditioner, when I look around the van, it literally looks the exact same, and that is so frustrating. And it leads me to feel like a failure when I look back on what I have done and how I've spent every day that I have been working and I've been trying my best, and it's hard to not let that sink into how I identify and how I see myself. But building a van while living in it has proven to be a million times harder than I thought. So for obvious reasons, I'm just gonna throw everything else away. This is all we get to keep now. Isn't worth it. Let's just go. Actually, just leave it all. It was all in there at one point. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Why have my last few videos just been full of bugs? What curse? Maybe I have bug superpowers. Let me have my optimistic moment right now, okay? Let me have it. Ew, they're so big. Well, we can just throw this away. This is from Nomad Internet. Never buy from Nomad Internet. They are a scam. And they pay off influencers to be quiet about it. That's what I said. I gave up $4,000 just to make that point. What am I supposed to do? I need like an Uber, but for like getting bugs, like you can just get an app for someone to come get bugs for you. Welcome to solo life. You kind of get all your bugs yourself. I know something that really doesn't come across in my videos is the amount of personal growth I have had in this season of my life. And it mostly came from being around new people, new experiences, and mainly van builders and other van lifers, something that I never had before. And yeah, I ended up meeting someone I thought was the love of my life and proceeded to have my heart shattered after just 2 months. And I got insulted in a group of my friends and learned that the things that people say to me are not a reflection of me, but a reflection of their insecurities and self-perceived shortcomings, and don't have anything to do with me. And I learned that respect, while it's an okay thing to want, can't always be earned from certain people. When the reason someone refuses to give it to you is more about their own prejudices or more about who they are. And I feel like I have just grown so much. And even though I have not gotten a lot of building done, I would not replace these months, no matter how hard they were, because I think I'm happy with who I came out as.